I think it's 13. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's 13. All right, guys. Episode 13, Heart of the Order 2.0. I'm just gonna call it Heart of the Order now, guys. Where it's established we're Heart of the Order. No more 2.0. This is Heart of the Order. Heart of the Order.
We're back.
Heart of the Order, episode 13. Still no baseball back, guys. I mean, it seems like we're kind of coming to the end of this quarantine a little bit in a way. I'm over here in Ohio, and like me and my girlfriend went to Lowe's last night, and the parking lot was absolutely jam-packed. There's people eating outside at restaurants. Like, I don't know if these Ohioans are just crazy or like, are we starting to come to the end of this quarantine? It seems like it. I don't know, at least over here in Ohio. I mean, how do you guys feel? Are you guys getting itched to get back outside?
I mean, first off, hello, fellas.
Hello. I'd just like to get right into it, Dre. You know,
I'm with you. There's no BS. I'm about it, but I want to meet and greet. I like to say hi to you boys. Anyways, fellas, Ohioans are crazy. That's all there is to it. I mean, I get it. You got an itch to go outside. I mean, you see it here in Pittsburgh. Some people are doing the same. Like, it's warm weather, so they're like, you know what? There's no more coronavirus. You're just gonna go outside and do whatever. Like, I've seen it, yeah, we're all crazy. Just because the weather's nice doesn't mean the pandemic's over. Like, eating together in restaurants and stuff, come on, you gotta still stay socially distant. I get it. Are they wearing masks?
From what I saw from like driving on the road, I couldn't tell. But yeah. I mean, I don't know how you eat with a mask on.
Not when they're eating.
Yeah, not when they're eating. They don't know how you eat with a mask on.
It's a bowl right in front of your face.
We're talking about a bunch of Cleveland Browns and Cincinnati Bengals fans. They've been delusional for years. So this should not shock any of us.
I think I saw, first off, hello. Second off, get right into it. I think I saw that in Ohio, they're opening up gyms too.
Yep, my girlfriend.
Because that's even crazier to me.
Yeah, supposedly they have like scheduled times when they can go to the gym and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of like day to day, like I've been seeing a bunch of people much more like out and about, and maybe it's the weather, maybe it's the fact that it is the light. We see a light off in the distance.
Yeah.
But like the general tone seems a little bit less like dystopian. Like when I went grocery shopping, this was one of the first times that people just weren't like so tense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure. To some degree, it'll still be around.
I was, I work for Amazon on the weekends delivering packages and stuff like that. And I was up at Squirrel Hill on Sunday this past weekend near like Shenley Park. And there was people just out left and right, which, I mean, being outside, like, all right, I can understand it, 6 feet, things like that. But like restaurants opening up and stuff like that. I mean, I think Peduto was talking about literally closing down streets so restaurants could like have people dining outside. And I was like, holy cow, like, this is wild. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like we're kind of coming to the end of it in a way. What's up, Brooksy?
Did you guys see that in Pennsylvania, you can now get cocktails to go?
I did see that. That's nice.
I think that's part of the reason why people are going crazy. Because I told you guys way back whenever this first started, that I was at the liquor store and I was in line for 45 minutes, which was by far and away the craziest time I've ever seen a liquor store like that. And that makes sense, you're about to be quarantined, you're in a pandemic. You want to stock up on liquor, at least you don't want to be sober for it.
Yeah.
So, with easy access to drinks out there, cocktails to go, because part of what we have to deal with right now is the fact that you got to order, you're ordering out, trying to support local business. If you can get liquor to go with your meals, I'm cool with that. Like, that's just one more thing I'm satisfied about.
100%. Without a doubt.
Some people are going crazy. I've adapted very well to this.
I have too. I feel like I have too. You just got to stay busy.
I'm looking at myself and I'm like, oh, dang, like I want to see each of the like 11 episodes we've done in quarantine side by side to see like how many times I've worn this exact outfit. Because it's at least.
I think it's either I have this hoodie on, another gray hoodie with a champion logo, this hat, or no hat.
Yep.
Like, I probably look the same almost in every single episode.
I know for a fact I was not repping Gino, but today I'm repping Gino because I miss hockey, and that's how much I miss hockey too.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well, guys, last time we talked, we obviously talked about Blake Snell and comments that he made about the request or the plan that was introduced by the MLB owners, and basically how he said, he wasn't playing unless he got his. So he wanted to be paid fully. He wasn't taking a pay cut or anything like that. Like, if he was out there risking his life and possibly getting coronavirus, like, he wanted to be paid fully. And I think for the most part, all of us agreed with him. For the most part, I would assume. I think we were a little iffy on some like stipulations and things like that. But after we recorded, I think it was the next day, Dre, and 2 days afterwards, maybe.
Exact next day.
Okay. Bryce Harper came out and basically said, yeah, he's right. And I mean, this is a guy who signed one of the largest contracts in MLB history this past offseason before he joined the Phillies. And he's coming out and saying, yeah, like, we need to get paid. And this is a big name. This isn't like Blake Snell. I've been in the league for how many years, this is like one of the biggest names in baseball. So should that give, players around the league a little more reassurance that, maybe the players are right in this standpoint? Either of you can answer this question.
Go ahead, Brooks. You take lead on this.
Yeah, because I was the one that was a little bit more conflicted about where I stand. Because, like, I was a little bit more on the side of thanks for being honest, but now it's not the time. But I also had, the caveat that I don't like that the owners sort of pulled this PR move. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just think that there's still some negotiations that need to be done. So it's not like an all or nothing thing where it's like, okay, the players are going to get paid the money that they said since when they made the agreement in March, and it's not going to be a 50-50 revenue split. I hope that there's room for the players and them to negotiate at some point. And I don't know if, obviously, a 50-50 revenue split is one thing the players definitely won't do, and I don't fault them for that. But would they be open for a 60-40, a 65-35, whatever it is? But like, this is such a unusual circumstance that I would like to see some flexibility on either side. So
with both sides giving in a little bit, I could see it. Like, it's just
at least. I think
the numbers, I would assume.
What's that?
It just comes down to the numbers, I think, is what it is. Like, I mean, how much does each side have to give a little bit for like it to make it work? I mean, because right now it seems like the players are giving up a lot, and because the owners have lost so much already that they're not willing to give up as much.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Without looking at the numbers and things like that, that's what it seems like to me.
Mm-hmm. And I think like it's not going to be fair, because if this point stands where the players want their money, which is fair for them to do, they have all the right to do, there's not going to be a season. And it sucks that they're going to be the ones that wear all that blame. So, like, I don't agree with that. But I hope that both sides know a 50-50 means no season, and a players not getting more of a favorable cut means no season.
Yeah.
And it seems like the owners are fine with that, because it's a matter of losing $150 million compared to $100 million. But
well, I will say, Brooksy, I did see a figure that should scare the owners, and that is the fact that if there's no season, they're apparently set to lose $4 billion this year.
I thought that was for the NFL, because I saw that too.
I could have swore it was for Major League Baseball.
I think it was for baseball. But what's the figure if they if there is baseball and they have to pay the salaries that are agreed upon in March. I feel like that would be like $4.5 billion.
And that's the thing that I don't know. And part of the reason we don't know is because the owners won't open up their books.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the players are. That's where I would assume that's where the players kind of stand. Because the biggest thing with Bryce Harper and him coming out and saying this is, and as we talked about this last time, Blake Snell's first, and then the sequence of events was Jeff Passan went on and kind of broke these comments down when he was on with Pat McAfee last week. But he said one thing that we reiterated here on our show, and that's that, more players feel this way. You feel the same way as Blake Snell did. And then, like Max said, Bryce Harper's one of the biggest stars in this game. He's one of the most well-paid stars in this game. He's one of the faces of baseball. And this guy comes out and said Blake Snell is right. Didn't BS around it, and I agree with him. I'm on the player side. I always have been, because the players take all the risk. The players don't make as much as the owners, and the owners are all shady as hell in a capitalist sport. How much money are you set to lose in just open up the books and show us, because we can't figure out any type of issues with these teams. The problem is we're gonna find out if they do open up these books. We're gonna find out how franchises like the Rays, how much money they actually bring in, and how they can't afford a new stadium while they're asking the city of Tampa Bay for it. We'll find out how much money Bob Nutting has actually in his pocket to spend on this team, and why he isn't putting in any money into it. It's going to expose all of these small market teams, and I think the owners are trying to protect that. And I get that because it's a coalition, just like it is to the players. That's why you have that MLBPA in their association, their union, but it sucks because it's the players are in a no-win situation. But I love that they're just kind of standing up for themselves and like, hey, we're taking all the risk. We're the ones out here playing with the virus while you guys sit in the damn press box or the sky boxes and just watch, if you're even there half the time.
Yeah.
Because we don't know which owners are there and which ones aren't. We rarely see them on TV. Anytime I watch a baseball game, it's rare that I see a camera shot of Bob Nutting. Even in the Yankees game, it's rare, but I would assume that you see the owner of the Yankees there. Jeter's probably one of the most famous ones that's on TV all the time because he's at all the games. Bottom line is,
games, it seemed like for the Yankees.
Bryce is right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think it comes down – I mean, the players are the one that's putting the product on the field. The owners are just kind of bringing it all together, I guess, in a way. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, I think there's got to be a little give or take on both sides of this thing. I mean, we talked about this at length last week, and I think I feel like I was a little on the fence for both sides. Brooksy was a little on the fence for both sides. And then Dre, you were just all players. You're all the way over on the other side.
Yeah, I'm all players in this situation. I really am. And there could be other situations where I'm, all owners, but when it comes down to sports and athletics, it's always and first and foremost about the players. That's why the NBA is the best run sports league in the entire world. It really is, because they understand what they have. It's about the players. You got to keep them happy. And if the players aren't happy, let's figure out a way to make them happy. It's called, shared sacrifice. But they also understand that with sharing, that if we're going to be able to put on the best product possible, we got to let these players do their thing. The NBA does that all the time, and they're well paid. The franchises that are successful and have been, they've always had the best players and attract them, but now it's sort of an even playing field. That's a different game in terms of, how free agency works and stuff like that, because baseball, you're just going to go the highest paid contract because everybody's rep by Scott Boras. Mm-hmm. So if he's going to get you that money, that's what it comes down to. But
I would just like to know, I would like to know how much money that, I would like to know if the owners, paid out the players in full, paid their full contracts. How much money would the owners be set to lose? Is it, a bunch of money, over $1 billion, or is it $100 million if they pay out the full contracts? You know what I mean? Because if they're not these guys are just like ridiculously rich. And if they're like only set to lose like a certain amount of money, then why not like put it in the owner's hands and be like, all right, if we don't play, it's your fault. But at this point, all the blame is getting put on the players if the league doesn't,
It is.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
I think, well, like first off, like I wish in a world, like maybe they will, but I wish in a world like the owners would be willing to open their books, but like in no way does that, they're shady and that doesn't represent their interests. But like I think I mentioned it last week, like if there was a third party mediator that just sort of be like, okay, let me see the finances here, and like it's discreet, it's not known as like, okay, if in this scenario the owners will lose this much and like this is what we're proposing, because in no way is that, like I don't feel like the owners are going to open their books to the public, and it stinks because the players are going to have the most impact of this one way or another financially, because like we've seen in the last few years of the change in like free agency contracts, and it's going to be like even harder upon the players. And I think, yeah, it's just going to be a long road back either way from it. And I feel like, what percentage of baseball fans do you think would blame the owners versus blame the players if there was no?
I would assume 60-40, Brooksy.
In what direction? Players to owners?
Yeah, players and owners in terms of blame. And again, I only say that because it comes down to, their safety and how they feel like playing on the field. I'm sure the owners would probably play baseball tomorrow if every city,
100%.
If every city was sort of open or in a yellow phase and was like, hey, we can get sports back. And we've seen the governors of 3 major states in New York, Texas, and California all come out and say in support of sports. All 3 of them in a press conference about it. And I think that was Friday as well, where they talked about how
Arizona and Florida both opened their states to professional sports.
Yeah.
So, like the Cardinals could come back tomorrow if they wanted. The Suns could come back tomorrow.
Pirates are in yellow phase. I would assume they could come back tomorrow too, because the football facilities are open there.
Yeah.
For the NFL. So I would assume that if MLB gave that green light, that the Pirates would return. And with them governors coming out and saying, the road to sports is going to essentially start with us because half the league's teams are in those 3 states.
Yeah.
Then, that'd be that I thought that was a big step. But Brooksy, to your point, and the point I want to make regarding my argument, 60-40, I say players and owners, and talk about how the books need to be open. Mm-hmm. Part of my reason for this is because, like Max said, legitimately, we need to know how much they're going to lose because the players aren't going to get paid in full. Yeah. They need to understand that because, again, shared sacrifice. And my stance, I think, here is got to be clear that I'm not full-blown players get full-blown contracts. That's just not feasible. With no fans in the stands, it's just going to be hard because of ticket sales. Yeah. Ticket sales are a big driver in terms of, the revenue that the owners make for the team.
Yeah.
So with that not happening, because you're talking about playing sports without fans, it's just going to be extremely difficult because you have tickets and what goes into the games with parking, merchandise, and concessions, all of that jazz. Like it's not possible for Blake Snell and Bryce Harper to get their full-blown contracts. But we need to know how much the owners are set to lose so we can come to an agreement here because the big hang up here is money, and that sucks.
Mm-hmm. So basically it's just owners open your books and even if it's not to the public, like owners open your books, get a third party in there to basically look at everything and come up with a situation where both sides are equally treated, and then we have baseball. That's the solution, right?
Well, it's the only solution there is. We're supposed to be in this together, so don't greed ruin a good thing. Because if they don't have baseball, they're talking about legitimately just losing everything they've made in progress with the sport.
Yeah.
We're not in the middle of a season, which is less or more complicated. I don't know which one yet. I'm still decided on that.
All right. So that wasn't the only news Bryce Harper made this past week. After we recorded last time, he came out and basically, for the last, I don't know how many weeks, guys. For the last couple weeks, all we've talked about is different proposals that have come out and been leaked by the league, by news outlets, and things like that. This is the first proposal of what baseball could look like that we've gotten from an actual player. So Bryce Harper came out this past week, and basically came up with another option where how we could get this season in. And I'm gonna read it off to you, and then we can talk about it. So obviously he starts off with baseball beyond the health and safety, which comes first for all players, staff, workers, fans and family. This is just an idea that he's been thinking about. So you have East and West, just like the NBA and conferences. You play 31 days in July, 31 days in August, 30 days in September, 31 days in October, 15 days in November. You have 135 games. You have an off day every 2 weeks on a Monday, and Sunday doubleheader 7-inning games. So 30 players on the roster, 6-man rotation, which can save arms if pitchers wanted that. If not, no big deal, he says. DH and any other ideas are possible. Playoffs would be a 2-week World Series like Super Bowl week, 10 teams round robin format College World Series kind of style at the new Texas Stadium or whatever stadiums are best. 3-game series, you win the series, you move on, you lose, you play the other loser in a 1-game wild card. Winner of that moves on, other team is out. Or you could play it in Vegas, so you could have the strip hotels and could use one hotel for all the guys and contain the coronavirus possibly. 2 teams left, 7-game World Series. They get 2 days off before the series. With those 2 days off, you do an all-star game and a home run derby, which, like, that idea, for me, comes out of nowhere. Like, I think that's a great idea to kind of keep baseball and people interested in stuff and have, like, a break from the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I love that idea. You could do the MLB awards at this time as possible. He said, open this on all platforms too, like MLB Network, regular cable, things like that. So there's no blackouts, and it's open for everyone to watch. Then you back up the season the next 2 years. So 2021 season would start May 1st, and then 2022 the season would start April 1st. Maybe I'm crazy, just fun to think about and throw around ideas. Guys, I think the last 2 sentences in this post is probably the best part. Maybe I'm crazy, but it's just fun to think about ideas and throw ideas around. Like, that's what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. So to see this possibility from one of the best players in the game, I think is awesome. I mean, what do you guys think about this idea and the fact that he's just willing to kind of, throw it out there and get some criticism from people and stuff like that? Brooksy, what do you think?
I think it's great. I mean, it's nice to know that the players are doing the same things that we're probably doing in our heads. In terms of, like, his plan, I think it sounds awesome. I think you can even cut – the one thing that I would, like, change is 135 games is, like, a ton in that amount of time with only an off day every 2 weeks on a Monday.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe add another off day, whether it be – just like an additional one, you can get that down to 100 games.
Like, I think they would benefit from, like, back-to-back days on, like, a Monday and you have 2 days off, in a row, and then start back up on a Wednesday or something, or, like, change the off day, like, every week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, something that's more, like, not as chaotic.
Yeah.
During it. And I think I like that, even though I just said don't make it as chaotic, I like that, especially for the playoffs, they're embracing sort of like the chaos and just like the uniqueness of this year.
Yeah.
Like, if it's going to be a shortened season, something funky, make it legitimate, but just make it something different instead of just applying what it's always been this year. I especially like the idea you mentioned of still having things like the All-Star Game and Home Run Derby, just in terms of like having that fun aspect to it. And then maybe even just like expand rosters more than 30.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's been like a facet of other plans that people have had, is like maybe rosters the size of like 40 maybe even, but just in terms of like having those double headers and like a lot of games with maybe restrictive days off, just to expand the rosters as much as pitchers would want, because they're the ones that are going to be wearing this a little bit more than the other guys.
Yeah. Trey, what are your thoughts, buddy?
It's perfect. I think it's absolutely perfect.
I'm in love with it.
I want to, out of all the plans, this is the best plan that I've ever seen, and I'm convinced that if this plan doesn't happen, that baseball will die. It'll just die. No more baseball. Let's break this down here real quick.
It's either this option or nothing.
Yeah, for me, that's how much I love this plan. It's legitimately the best plan I've seen. It's better than the Florida-Arizona plan. It's better than, the plan that USA Today had, unless they were the ones that just broke the news. I can't remember. Like you said, Mac, there's been so many plans over the past couple months here. Oh, man.
Like, at least this week, there's been a plan that's come out.
Yes.
This is the first one from a player.
Number one, I have no problem with the 135 days. I love the universal off day. The 135 games, rather, I'm sorry, with the universal off day. I think what the best part about that is the 7-inning doubleheader on Sunday. Sunday baseball is one of the best things in the world. Yeah. And that's like the day that I miss the most with sports right now with this pandemic. I've sat on my couch, not going outside. I'm like, man, I could really use some Sunday baseball right now. So not only do we get one game, we get 2 games back to back. Who loses there? That's number one.
No.
Number 2, the 30 players. I'm with Brooksy. That's probably the worst thing I don't like about this plan. I'd probably go a little bit further because if you do this many games and that amount of time with not a lot of off days, you're going to have, a lot of substitutes. And this is where, Clint Hurdle really did the managing thing well, where like in a series, he would throw a Sunday lineup out on a Wednesday. And it's like, dude, it's the rubber match versus the Cubs. What are you doing? Throwing out Clint Farmas or the backup shortstop in there. Like, throw your starters in there. Let's win this series. You can rest guys tomorrow on an actual off day. So there would be a lot of load management, so to say, there. Managers would have to get creative, but that's why they get paid money anyways. The College World Series idea, I think, is lovely because we missed out on that. So what better way to kind of counteract that than give us that, but with the actual Major League Baseball players, with the best competition possible, 10 guys going up with each other. And one of the biggest things that, I've experienced as a Pirates fan is the actual wild card game itself. It's awesome, but when you're playing it, it's the most nerve-wracking thing in the world, especially because if you lose, you're done after 162 games. Come down to legitimately one game. It's insanely nerve-wracking. So with this round-robin tournament, I think it gives you a chance to, it gives you more of an even playing field. And then if you lose, you just lose. It's not like one and done.
Yeah.
So you actually have a chance. And then the no blackouts thing is awesome because MLB TV is extremely notorious for that, and that sucks. And the All-Star game, you kind of still save it with the Derby right there before the World Series. It's a nice little consolation. You would think it's like more Pro Bowl style, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to have a Pro Bowl skills competition, such a high-impact sport. At least with baseball, it's enjoyable. So I like that. It's like a little consolation for the rest of the league that didn't make the playoffs. They get one more game to kind of just go out there and show out. So, I see nothing wrong with this plan whatsoever. Absolutely, I think it's the best plan in the world. I really do.
Best plan in the world. You touched on it a little bit there, Dre. I think the biggest part is, with everything going on, like one of the things the Major League Baseball should be doing is taking advantage of being able to market the sport as much as possible and be able to get new fans. And I think having the no blackout thing and games open up on all platforms, I think that's one of the biggest things, because then you're giving the opportunity to, even though they can't get in the stadiums, you're giving a bunch of new fans the opportunity to watch baseball, no matter if they have it paid for or not. For example, did either of you? I mean, I didn't, but did either of you guys watch NASCAR this weekend when it came back?
No.
And okay, never mind then. That just completely ruins my.
If Deke were here, he'd be all about it. No.
But like, I mean, just because these sports are on TV, people are watching them. I mean, Deke, for example, he says he's the biggest NASCAR guy now because he watched one race, and who knows how much of that race he actually watched. But
they turn left, like it.
Yeah.
Like, how great can it be?
People are still watching it. So if this sport is on TV, I mean, I would assume, you know, even if people don't like the sport, they might tune in just because it's live sports again.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's one of the big ideas there. And then the All-Star game, I think it still brings that entertainment value in the middle of a World Series chase. And I think you know, on the biggest stage, you get everyone involved and things like that. I think that's a pretty good idea. But I mean, like you said, Dre, I think this is one of the best ideas we've kind of gone over. It's creative. It's not like completely like boring. And I think it's a good idea.
He must have been on LSD coming up with this plan, man. Because this is like some next level Beatles making music type of stuff.
I think
it's so well thought out and meticulous. I'm mind blown.
I think I said it in our group chat after you shared this in the group chat. I was like, Bryce Harper has reached like a new level of enlightenment since like he did that Barstool interview. Like he's just like, I don't care what people think about me anymore. I'm just gonna start throwing ideas out left and right here. Like, I mean, he was talking about like in that interview, he was talking about like getting back into the Olympics and stuff like that. And it's like, all right, let's just, you know, throw everyone in there and go shock the world. Like, let's get into the Olympics again. And I just think he's on like a new level of just like, all right, I'm just going to start, you know, I'm going to beat Bryce Harper. Because like, I feel like over his career, he's always been kind of like, other than when he's on the baseball field, like he's always been a little more subdued. He hasn't been like out there in the public, in the media as much. And now he's just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah. Like, early in his career, he's definitely been sort of like this, but then kind of calmed down and became more serious. Mm-hmm. I think it was more so because he saw that his contract was coming up and he wanted to make sure he was, you know, a team guy or whatever, not a problem or, you know, but and then he got in that fight with Papelbon, which was, you know, pretty funny. Your boy Pap got destroyed there, so. But
he's a fiery guy. He's a fiery guy. He was good in Boston for a couple of years. Then he kind of hit the hay.
Yeah, he was. But I've always been a Bryce Harper fan. I've always liked him. I know he's very polarizing. I like that personality is in Major League Baseball, and I think that his plan is, I think it's perfect, to say the least.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of already hit on this a little bit, so I don't know if we really need to talk about it too much. But Atlanta Braves, Tom Glavine came out and basically he was in an article in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution earlier this week and basically said, you know, if the MLB doesn't happen this year and it comes down to something financial, the players are going to take most of the blame for it. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. But, I mean, we already kind of talked about it. And I should have brought it up like when we were –
That's another thing. That's okay, though, but that's just another point that, you know, we all recognize a problem. And, you know, Tom Glavine's a Hall of Famer. We all recognize the problem, and we all understand that, you know, it seems like a no-win situation for the players.
Yeah.
But it would be a lot easier to come to compromise if the owners would just come to compromise and show us exactly what you're dealing with here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the last thing I want to talk about, you know, we like to end things on a loving note here at Heart of the Order. I think it was either today or yesterday, the Cleveland Indians came out and basically revealed that last year they were hiding pictures of Nicolas Cage in their social media lineup cards. And I'm going to see exactly what it says because they said it was their national treasure. Is basically how they described it. Where is it?
I'm just confused. When were they? What about a few days ago did they say today's the day we're releasing this?
Right.
Like I was expecting if it was Like maybe like halfway through the season, like, oh, we did this last year.
I can't.
Or oh, we did this for the first half of the season, but like now it's like, wait, what? They did this last year and we're just hearing about it now? I love the creativity.
I can't remember where I saw it now. Shit.
This is this is something else. So their official account says,
We're
39.
just want to let you know that we had Nicolas Cage in 39 of our lineup graphics last year, and no one even noticed. How do you get away with this?
Did you see the photos of like where Nicolas Cage was hidden? Like, I don't think unless you were like actually looking for it, there was no way you would find it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it now because someone's like, I think I found all 39, and the only one that sticks out is the tattoo. It looks like a tattoo of somebody on somebody's arm here.
Yeah.
If you go to their official account and you scroll down their timeline, this dude, Anthony Fusco, said he found all 39, and the only one that really sticks out is that one. So go to their official account, check it out. It's pretty hilarious that they did that.
I'll share some of the photos in like when I edit the clip together. But yeah, it's.
I like to think
this morning. I was like, oh my god.
I like to think that somebody in their graphic design department or social media team just went rogue. And then like earlier this week, they were like, got the courage to be like, hey, or maybe they were furloughed this week. Like, hey, screw it. I added Nicolas Cage to 39 of our picks. And then the person in charge was like, actually, I love that. Let's do it.
The social media guys are different for the official sports teams. Like the one for the Carolina Panthers probably runs one of the funniest accounts.
Yeah.
They're just savages.
They're just wilding.
Yeah. But hey, quarantine will make you wildin'.
It was funny to see. I thought it was an interesting topic. I can't what makes you come up with that idea? Oh yeah, we're gonna hide Nicolas Cage in 39 of our social media lineups. like how do you come up with that?
Why Nicolas Cage? Why not like Matt Damon? What was that thought process like?
Like I don't. It's like one of those things. I don't know if you saw it. It was a couple years ago where the Carolina Panthers social media account, they did the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air song. They used the first word of every one of their tweets for like the span of a month or something like that. And if you like go back through it, the first word of every tweet, you can sing the song.
Yeah,
so for Bell, they used an emoji. Like it was one of the most funniest things. Like that's just social media creativity. It
was. I remember when it was exposed, and I was like, "Wow, this is next level." And that like to me explains again why they're just the best of the best. They did something this year too, trolling the Falcons. Yeah, and it was. Oh man, I gotta find that tweet because that one was funny. They're the best in the game.
Was it for like the Falcons New Jersey or something, or was it the 28-3 thing?
I think it was the Falcons New Jersey reveal, and then I think they possibly like rickrolled them or something like that.
Background for a bit. Hey guys, I hid Nicolas Cage in my virtual background of episode 13 of Heart of the Order.
The Connor photos.
Making an appearance in a HOTO now. All right.
Right over my shoulder.
See Connor.
Yeah. Connor was my home from school or homesick from school movie. It was always on TV.
Connor's like it's like good, but it's also like outrageous because his like dialogue is like so funny.
Isn't he like a southern draw?
Yeah, it's like a southern draw, and this convict who's not really a convict. It's like, okay, what's he doing in jail then?
Yeah.
Why is he on a plane with a bunch of murderers and thugs?
All right, boys. That is all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Heart of the Order. See you guys next week. Deuces.